guys, let's continue our e-lecture with Clause 8 of ISO 9001-2015, Operation. In layman's term, operation is all about getting things done. This is where you actually produce the product or deliver the service, considered as one of the most challenging parts in every business organization. This is the part where you have to constantly keep your eyes open. Every organization needs an operating plan in order to function. Clause 8 is composed of operational and planning control, requirements for production and services, design and development for products and services, control of externally provided processes, products and services, production and service provision, release of products and service, and lastly, control of non-conforming outputs. Let's get to know each clause one by one. Clause 8.1 Operational and Planning Control. This clause requires operation to be conducted through processes that are planned in control, regardless of whether the organization or an outside party performs the process. A criteria is determined and established for acceptance. The identification of resources needed to achieve conformity is required. In view of this, the organization shall plan, implement, and control the processes needed to meet the requirements for the provision of products and services, and to implement the action determined in Clause 6 by determining the requirements for the products and services, establishing criteria for their processes in the acceptance of products and services, determining the resources needed to achieve conformity to the product and service requirements, implementing control of the processes in accordance with the criteria, and determining, maintaining, and retaining documented information to the extent necessary. Clause 8.2 Requirements for products and services. Customers are primarily the end users of your product, but also include intermediaries who may be internal or external and who integrate your product into theirs. This also includes dealers and distributors who market and sell your product or the integrated products. You need to consider feedback from all these customers to determine whether or not you have met their specified and perceived requirements. Customer feedback or satisfaction is the first tool required by this standard to gauge the effectiveness of the quality management system. This clause requires you to gather and analyze information as to what extent you meet these requirements from the customer's perspective. Clause 8.3 Design and Development. Design and development activities needed for products and services are required to be planned and controlled through an established, implemented, and maintained process. This process may be used for both products and services and for associated process. The organization shall establish, implement, and maintain a design and development process that is appropriate to ensure the subsequent provision of products and services. Clause 8.4 For the control of externally provided processes, products and services have to be in conformity to the operational requirements of the organization. This ensures that the externally provided process, products, and services do not adversely affect the organization's ability to consistently deliver conforming products and services to its customers. It shall also take into consideration the potential impact of the externally provided process, products, and services on the organization's ability to consistently meet customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements, and the effectiveness of the controls applied by the external provider. Clause 8.5 Production and Service Provision provides a list of control requirements that you may use if applicable to your business. Identify and control all operation process. Show the interaction of these processes with other processes. The organization shall implement production and service provision under control conditions. In addition to this, Clause 8.5 also looks into identification and traceability, property belonging to customers or external providers, preservations, post-delivery activities, and lastly, control of changes to ensure the continuity of conformity with the requirements. Clause 8.6 Release of products and services. The organization shall implement plan arrangement at appropriate stages to verify that the product and service requirements have been met before it is released. It is important to identify, monitor, and measure product for service characteristics to verify conformity to their requirements. These requirements may come from your customer, your organization, regulatory, and industry sources. You must plan what characteristic to measure, type of measurements, what measurement device to use, how often to measure, sample size, acceptance criteria, and records needed for each product or product type. Lastly, Clause 8 also talks about control of non-conforming outputs in Clause 8.7. ISO 9001-2015 Clause 8.7 applies to process products and services that do not conform to customer requirements, applicable regulatory requirements, or your own organization requirements. Non-conformities may relate to suppliers and outsourced work, their own organizational activities, or product shipped to customers. The organization shall take appropriate action based on the nature of the non-conformity and its effect on the conformity of products and services. This also applies to non-conforming products and services detected after delivery of products, during or after the provision of services. The organization shall deal with non-conforming outputs through correction, segregation, containment, return, or suspension and provision of products and services, informing the customer in obtaining authorization or acceptance under concession. That's all for Chapter 3. See you in the next video on Chapter 4 for Clause 9 and 10 of ISO 9001-2015. Bye-bye. Please scan the QR code for your attendance.